There's a moment, subtle, quiet, when your reality starts to feel off. You're doing all the right things, the visualizing, the scripting, the meditation, and yet nothing's shifting. It's not because you're broken, it's because you're out of frequency. Your mind is asking for one thing, but your field is broadcasting something entirely different. The life you want, it's not avoiding you. It's already here, vibrating on a frequency you haven't tuned into yet. You don't need to force. You don't need to chase. You don't even need to manifest in the way you were taught. You need to sync, to recalibrate your energy with the version of you that already has what you seek. Because manifestation isn't magic, it's magnetic. And in this video, we'll break down the hidden quantum truth that explains why your life isn't shifting, and exactly how to turn your field into a magnet for the timeline that's already waiting for you. The silent frustration. There's a kind of frustration most people can't explain. On the outside, your life might seem fine. You're doing what you're supposed to. You go to work, you keep trying, you read the books, maybe even practice affirmations. But underneath all that, something feels off. You can't quite name it, but it's real. A quiet pressure in your chest, a restlessness that won't leave. It's not loud, but it's constant. This frustration isn't anger. It's not sadness either. It's more like knowing you were meant for something more, but you can't access it. Like there's a version of life trying to reach you. But no matter what you do, it feels just out of range. You look around and think, why does nothing feel enough? And maybe you feel guilty for even thinking that. But the truth is, you're not wrong. You're not ungrateful. You're just misaligned. The people around you might not notice. You might even hide it well. But late at night or early in the morning before the world wakes up, that inner ache returns. It whispers what your logical mind won't admit. This isn't the life you were meant to settle for. Not because your life is bad, but because it's not the full expression of who you are. You can feel it, and that feeling won't go away. What makes this frustration so hard is that it's invisible. You can't explain it to most people. If you tried, they might tell you to be grateful or be patient. But it's not about impatience, it's about misalignment. Your soul knows something your mind hasn't fully understood yet, that the life you're living doesn't reflect the frequency you're truly capable of. And that gap, it hurts. This pain isn't punishment, it's feedback. It's your inner world telling you that the signal you're sending out no longer matches what you want to receive. You can't fake frequency. You can't say, I want freedom, while vibrating in fear. You can't affirm abundance while feeling like you're surviving. The frustration comes from this split between who you are being and who you were always meant to become. You might keep trying to fix it with action, work harder, do more, try another method, but it never really fixes the feeling. That's because the problem isn't outside of you, it's inside your field. It's not what you're doing, it's what you're broadcasting, and until you change your signal, life can only echo back the same reality. This is why people stay stuck for years. They keep living slightly off tune, just close enough to their dream life to see it, but never quite feeling it. They scroll past reminders of what's possible. They hear others talk about alignment, flow, manifestation, but deep down, they feel disconnected from it, like it works for everyone else, but somehow not for them. And yet, there's a part of you, no matter how tired, how uncertain, that hasn't given up. That's why this frustration exists. Because even when you feel disconnected, part of you remembers what it felt like to dream bigger, to believe more, to feel in sync with your own power. The ache is the memory of alignment, and it only hurts because it's still inside you. What you're feeling is not failure, it's your frequency trying to shift. The discomfort is a signal that your energy is no longer compatible with the reality you've been living. And the more you resist that shift, the louder the frustration becomes. It's not punishment, it's guidance, a soft push from the universe saying it's time to tune in differently. But this tuning doesn't come from force. It comes from awareness, from pausing and asking yourself, what signal am I sending right now? Not what do I want, but what am I being? Because the field doesn't respond to hope, it responds to coherence. And coherence only happens when your thoughts, emotions, and identity line up. When you start listening to this silent frustration as a message, not a mistake, everything changes. You stop blaming yourself. You stop forcing outcomes. You begin to align. Slowly, steadily, you shift from reacting to your reality to recalibrating it, from chasing the dream to embodying the frequency that lets it find you. The frustration doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're waking up, and the more you trust it, the more it will reveal. Because beneath the restlessness, beyond the discomfort, there is a signal, and that signal is pulling you into the timeline you were always meant to live. All that's left is to tune in. Frequency misalignment. You may not realize it, but every moment of your life you're sending out a signal. That signal isn't in your words or even your thoughts. It's in your state, in how you feel when no one's watching, in what you believe when everything's quiet. And for most people, that signal is disconnected from the life they say they want. They speak abundance but feel lack. They visualize love but expect disappointment. This is what we call frequency misalignment. You can say all the right affirmations. You can make vision boards, meditate, and journal. But if your emotional baseline is fear, if your nervous system is still wired for survival, your frequency won't match the future you're trying to manifest. It's like trying to hear a song playing on 101.1 FM while your radio is still stuck on 88.9. The problem isn't the music. The problem is the station you're tuned into. The universe isn't punishing you. It's responding to you. More specifically, it's responding to your field. Your electromagnetic field, made up of your emotions, thoughts, and energy, is constantly broadcasting. If what you want isn't arriving, it's not because it doesn't exist. It's because your signal doesn't match it yet. And that gap creates confusion, frustration, and sometimes deep doubt. Think of it like this. Every timeline, every version of your life already exists in the quantum field. But to access it, you must become compatible with it. You can't access the timeline of freedom while holding on to the frequency of fear. You can't receive abundance while resonating with unworthiness. The law is simple. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. This is why manifestation often feels like a lie to people, because they're taught to focus on the wanting. But wanting has a frequency of its own, and most of the time, the frequency of wanting is rooted in lack. When you constantly affirm that you desire something, your field is often reinforcing that you don't yet have it. And so the field mirrors that absence back. The hard truth? You could be doing all the right techniques and still block your manifestation, not because you're unworthy, but because you're energetically misaligned. You say, I want love, but your energy says, I don't trust it. You say, I'm ready for success, but your nervous system flinches at visibility. You say, I am abundant, but your choices are still ruled by fear. This isn't your fault. Most of this programming lives in your subconscious. It's built from past wounds, cultural stories, early childhood patterns, and the subconscious isn't changed by repeating phrases. It's changed by repetition of states. You have to show your body, over time, that the new frequency is safe. That's how it learns to shift and stay there. When you're misaligned, the field gets confused. You're saying one thing, feeling another, doing a third. The signal becomes noisy, the energy becomes fractured, and the universe, which is always listening, doesn't reject you. It simply reflects the dominant vibration it receives. That's why clarity in your energy is more powerful than intensity in your effort. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to manifest easily, without trying? That's not luck. That's alignment. Their internal world matches the frequency of their external desires. They aren't forcing, they're flowing. They aren't chasing, they're becoming. And as their field stabilizes, reality bends without resistance. You don't need to be perfect to realign. You just need to become aware of when your words are disconnected from your feelings, aware of when your intentions are diluted by doubt. This awareness is powerful, because once you notice the gap, you can start to close it, not by trying harder, but by tuning deeper. Frequency misalignment doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've outgrown the frequency you've been living in. and the tension you feel. That's the pull of a higher vibration asking you to meet it, not with fear, not with control, but with coherence, with consistency, with the quiet courage to shift from survival to trust. This is the emotional work of alignment. You breathe, you pause, you ask, "What am I broadcasting right now?" And you adjust. You bring your thoughts back. You bring your body back. You bring your belief back. You don't chase the outcome. You fine-tune the input. And slowly, your field stabilizes. Slowly, the signal gets clear. You'll notice it in small ways first. A new sense of peace, a moment of clarity, people responding differently to your presence, opportunities showing up with less resistance. These are not coincidences, they're signs. The field is responding, not to your desires, but to your being. And that shift is where all true manifestation begins. Because once you're aligned, everything changes. The timelines you used to chase start moving toward you. The versions of you that once felt far away begin to merge. You stop rehearsing fear. You start embodying trust. And in that energy, the field bends. Not because it suddenly decided to reward you, but because it can finally recognize you. This is the secret of frequency. The universe doesn't speak in words, it speaks in vibration. And once your vibration becomes steady, clear, and coherent, reality has no choice but to tune in and reflect it back. Your field is always broadcasting. You're not just thinking, you're broadcasting. Your body, your emotions, your beliefs, all of them are sending out a signal. Whether you're aware of it or not, your field is active, every second, every moment, even in silence. It doesn't wait until you speak. It doesn't care about your goals on paper. It listens to your frequency, the vibration beneath your thoughts, the energy beneath your actions. Your field is the energetic signature you carry. It's shaped by your past, your current emotional state, your dominant thoughts, and your subconscious patterns. That means even when you're doing nothing, you're still doing something energetically. You're always transmitting, and the quantum field is always receiving. This isn't spiritual poetry. This is physics, electromagnetic reality. People often ask why nothing is changing. They're saying the affirmations. They're visualizing the dream life. They're journaling with detail. But their energy is still anxious. Their body is still tense. Their heart is still guarded. That's the real signal being sent. And the quantum field doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you are. You might speak abundance, but if your field is locked in fear, you'll repel the very opportunities you want. You might talk about love, but if your energy still expects rejection, the connections won't feel safe. This is how powerful your field is. It speaks louder than your words. It declares your truth even when your mouth doesn't. Most of this happens below the level of your conscious mind. That's why people don't realize it. They think they're doing the work, but they're not tuning their signal. Because tuning isn't about doing more, it's about being different. And being different doesn't mean pretending. It means becoming emotionally and energetically coherent. Your field tells the universe what you expect, not what you want, what you expect. And expectations are not thoughts. They're stored experiences. They live in your nervous system. If you expect things to go wrong, you'll unconsciously broadcast defensiveness. If you expect support, you'll radiate trust. The field listens to expectation more than intention. You can't fake frequency. You can't lie to the field. It responds to congruence, to the alignment between what you think, feel, and embody. That's why some people try everything and still feel stuck. It's not because manifestation doesn't work. It's because their field is filled with mixed signals, conflicting vibrations, internal noise. Think of your field like a radio tower. You're always sending out a broadcast, and the universe is the receiver. If your signal is weak, unstable, or distorted, the response you get back will match that. You might get static, delay, confusion. But when your broadcast becomes clear and strong, reality tunes in fast, and it mirrors what you send. You've probably had moments where everything just flowed. You were calm, certain, grateful. Things clicked, conversations felt aligned, ideas came out of nowhere. That wasn't luck, that was coherence. Your field was in order, and so the external world responded. That's how this works. The outer is a reflection of the inner signal. Most people think they need to take more action, push harder, control the outcome. But manifestation doesn't work through control. It works through resonance. You're not here to chase, you're here to tune. And once you tune, the right people, places, and moments find you. Not because you hunted them down, but because you became magnetic. Your thoughts matter, but your emotions shape the signal. You might think of a dream every day, but if your dominant emotion is frustration, that's what the field reads. It mirrors the feeling, not the fantasy. That's why elevated emotion is key. Joy, gratitude, peace. When paired with intention, they strengthen your field like nothing else. Energy doesn't lie. Your posture, your tone, your decisions, they all speak the language of the field. If your actions come from fear, the energy behind them weakens your signal. If they come from presence and trust, your field strengthens. This is why internal alignment matters more than external effort. The field reads the why behind what you do. It's not about never feeling negative emotions. It's about not letting them become your home frequency. Feel them, acknowledge them, but don't rehearse them daily. Because whatever emotion you practice most becomes the dominant signal your field sends. And the field will match it, without judgment, without exception. Every room you walk into, your field walks in first. People feel your energy before they hear your voice. That's why some people naturally attract others, and some feel invisible. It's not magic, it's frequency. And when your field is stable, calm, and powerful, your presence becomes undeniable, even in silence. You don't have to force the universe to hear you. It already does. The question is, what are you saying through your energy? What is your field whispering day after day? Because when your field becomes a match for your highest vision, not just in thought, but in vibration, the reality around you will shift. It has to. That's quantum law. The subconscious rehearsal. You don't live by what you know, you live by what you've rehearsed. Most of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors aren't new. They're patterns, repetitions, scripts written deep in your subconscious long before you became aware of them. And every day, without realizing it, you play those scripts again and again. This isn't about memory, it's about energy. It's about the emotional signatures you've practiced so often they became your normal. Your subconscious isn't trying to hurt you, it's trying to protect you with familiarity. It holds on to old emotions not because they feel good, but because they feel known. And known equals safe. If you've practiced survival, you'll keep feeling anxious even in peace. If you've practiced rejection, you'll keep expecting it even in love. Your mind will resist change not because it's bad, but because it's unfamiliar. Every morning you wake up, your subconscious pulls you into a default mode. The same thoughts as yesterday, the same reactions, the same emotional baseline. Not because you choose it, but because it's been rehearsed. This is the silent loop most people live in. Not broken, just conditioned. And the longer a pattern runs unchecked, the more it becomes your identity. Manifestation fails not because desire is wrong, but because the subconscious hasn't caught up. You can consciously want wealth, but if your subconscious believes money is dangerous or impossible, your energy will reject it. You can desire love, but if you've rehearsed abandonment, your field will still push it away. The gap between conscious desire and subconscious programming is where most people get stuck. Your body becomes addicted to the emotions you rehearse most. If you've practiced stress for years, your nervous system gets wired for it. So even when nothing is wrong, your body looks for something to worry about. This isn't mindset, it's biology. Emotional habits become chemical addictions. And until you interrupt the pattern, your body will keep chasing the feeling it's used to. Think of your subconscious like a stage crew. You might change the actor on the stage, but the crew keeps setting up the same background. That background is your beliefs, emotions, and reactions. If they stay the same, the scene stays the same. No matter how inspiring your script is, to truly shift your life, you must retrain the crew, not just change the dialogue. The subconscious learns through repetition. It doesn't care what's true, it cares what's repeated. That's why trauma becomes identity. That's why self-doubt becomes natural. The more you rehearse a thought or feeling, the deeper it embeds in your nervous system. Your subconscious doesn't ask, Is this what we want? It only asks, is this what we always do? This is why real change feels hard, because your subconscious resists it, not out of malice, out of loyalty. It's loyal to what's known. That's its job, to keep you alive by sticking to what's familiar. But familiar is not the same as aligned. What's safe is not always what's true. And to evolve, you must teach your subconscious that safety can exist in a new state. Rehearsal isn't always conscious. It can happen in silence, in the way you flinch at opportunity, in the way you expect failure when something goes right, in how quickly you dismiss compliments. These aren't logical responses, they're practiced ones. Trained reactions based on the past, not the present, and unless interrupted, they become the energy you broadcast daily. You've probably tried to change habits with willpower, but willpower doesn't rewire the subconscious, experience does. You have to show your body, over and over, that a new emotion is safe, that peace is allowed, that joy is not dangerous, that abundance won't be taken away. This is why emotional rehearsal matters. Not forced positivity, but consistent, felt experience. The subconscious is reprogrammed through emotion, repetition, and embodiment. If you want to shift your life, you must rehearse new states, not just think new thoughts. Feel gratitude daily. Practice stillness when your body wants to rush. Respond with love when fear wants to take over. These small shifts, repeated enough, become the new pattern and the new you. This is why alignment takes time, because the subconscious is slow to trust. It's watching you, waiting for proof that this new identity is safe, that this new emotion won't lead to loss, that this new timeline is stable. The more consistently you live in your desired state, the more your subconscious begins to follow. And once it does, your energy field transforms. Rehearsal isn't just about what you do, it's about what you stop doing. Stop feeding fear with constant mental loops. Stop rehearsing stories that make you small. Stop giving power to thoughts that no longer serve who you want to be. Because every time you repeat an old reaction, you reinforce the old reality. And every time you pause, you reclaim power. Eventually, the rehearsal becomes automatic. Your baseline becomes peace, not panic. Your default becomes trust, not tension. You begin to attract experiences that match your new identity. Not because you forced them, but because you became them. That's how the subconscious works. Slowly, quietly, but permanently, once the shift is embodied. The version of you you're trying to become isn't far away. It's already in the field, waiting to be practiced, waiting to be chosen. Not once, but every day. Because the subconscious doesn't change with one decision. It changes with repetition. And when you start rehearsing who you're becoming more than who you've been, your life will begin to reflect it in ways you never imagined. Your dream life is already broadcasting. What if the life you've been chasing isn't far away, but already here? Not in physical form, maybe, but in frequency. Your dream life isn't something you need to create from scratch. It already exists in the quantum field as a possibility. A timeline broadcasting its signal, waiting for you to tune in. This changes everything. You're not here to beg the universe. You're here to match it. The version of you who already feels free, fulfilled, and at peace. That version is real. It's not a fantasy. It's not a goal. It's a broadcast, active right now, pulsing with the energy of clarity, love, and power. But here's the catch. You can't access that version from a state of doubt. The signal is clean. It won't cut through if you're still tangled in low-frequency emotions. Your dream life doesn't show up through force. It shows up through resonance. Just like a radio picks up music when it's tuned to the right station, you begin to experience your dream reality when your field becomes compatible with it. This isn't a metaphor. This is vibration, energy, quantum alignment. Your work isn't to create the station. It's to find it and become it. The field doesn't operate in linear time. It doesn't care how long you've been trying. It doesn't count how many times you've failed. It only responds to the signal you're sending now. That's why change can be instant once alignment clicks. You're not starting from nothing. You're tuning into something that's been calling you all along. There's a reason certain visions won't leave you. A reason why, even after years of struggle, the dream still pulls at your heart. It's not obsession. It's memory. At some level, You already know this life is yours. You've felt glimpses of it. You've seen flashes of that version of you. And those moments weren't imagination. They were transmission. The question is never, does my dream life exist? The question is, am I available for it today? Not in theory, but in energy, in identity. Because the version of you who lives that life doesn't think the way you do now, doesn't doubt the way you doubt now. They operate at a frequency you can choose to practice, starting now. Too often we look for signs before we shift. We want proof before we believe. But the field doesn't work that way. The signal comes first, then the evidence. You have to become the version of you that belongs in that reality before it ever shows up. This is the path of true transformation, not external change, but internal broadcasting. Every timeline is active, every possibility is alive in the field, but your alignment determines which one you collapse into. If you keep vibrating from fear, you'll keep sinking with timelines built on fear. If you start vibrating from joy, trust, and clarity, you start aligning with the version of reality where those qualities are normal. This is why trying harder doesn't work. You can't out-effort a frequency mismatch. You can't grind your way into alignment. Your dream life is subtle. It's not yelling. It's waiting. Waiting for you to become quiet enough, still enough, trusting enough to receive its broadcast. And when you do, you'll notice it feels familiar because it's already part of you. There's a version of your life where you feel whole, calm, and certain. It's not on a pedestal. It's not reserved for the lucky. It's simply a vibration you haven't practiced enough yet. Every time you breathe deeply, act with integrity, and think with faith, you inch closer to it, not because you're earning it, but because you're syncing with it. You've been taught that success requires striving, that dreams demand sacrifice. But what if that's only true in timelines built from struggle? What if, in your aligned reality, things come through flow, not force? Your dream life doesn't require more pain. It requires more presence, more emotional congruence, more trust in the unseen. It's not enough to wish for your dream life. You must embody the version of you that belongs in it. Speak how they'd speak, decide how they'd decide, feel what they'd feel before the results appear. This isn't pretending. This is practicing. It's rehearsal for a role you were born to play, but forgot you already had the part. The field doesn't wait until you feel ready. It waits until you feel aligned. That's when the shift happens. Not when the world gives you permission, but when your frequency does. And you'll know it. Because the things that once felt far will start showing up without you chasing them. Your reality will start organizing around your coherence. Most people think their dream life is hidden. But it's not hidden. It's invisible until matched. You're not meant to chase it down. You're meant to become visible to it. And that happens the moment you stop broadcasting from fear and start transmitting from belief. The timeline already exists. The signal is already live. So ask yourself, are you waiting to be chosen by a version of life you haven't yet aligned with? Or are you ready to choose it by tuning your energy right now? Because your dream life is not silent. It's not missing. It's already broadcasting. And the only question left is, are you ready to receive it? Coherence creates collapse. In the quantum world, possibilities exist as waves, unformed, undefined, just pure potential. But those waves don't become reality until something collapses them. That collapse happens through observation, attention, and alignment. In other words, when your energy becomes focused and coherent, the field responds. What was once a possibility becomes real, not because you forced it, but because you matched it. Coherence is when your heart, mind, and body are in agreement. It's when your thoughts support your feelings and your actions reflect both. No more internal tug of war. No more saying one thing and feeling another. In coherence, there's no contradiction, only clarity. And clarity is what causes the quantum field to take form. You don't manifest through chaos. You manifest through stability. Not emotional suppression, but emotional harmony. When your nervous system is regulated, when your emotions are elevated, when your belief is steady, you become a strong signal. The field responds not to how loud you are, but to how aligned you are. We've been taught to chase outcomes, but in the quantum world, chasing scatters energy. It sends mixed signals. One part of you believes, another doubts. One wants change, the other fears it. That inner split weakens your field. But when you choose coherence, when every part of you agrees, you don't have to chase. The reality comes to you. Collapse doesn't happen because you want something. It happens because your signal becomes undeniable. The moment you stop wavering between past patterns and future desires, the moment your energy stabilizes, timelines collapse. The probability becomes a presence. The future becomes the now. It's not magic, it's resonance. Your heart plays a powerful role in coherence. Science shows that heart-brain alignment creates electromagnetic harmony. When your heart feels peace, gratitude, or love, and your mind supports that feeling, your field expands. Your energy becomes smooth, steady, and strong. And the stronger the field, the faster it draws matching realities. Coherence isn't about being perfect. It's about being emotionally honest and energetically consistent. You can feel fear, but still choose faith. You can acknowledge doubt, but act from trust. It's not about removing all uncertainty. It's about not letting that uncertainty control your signal. That's the discipline of coherence. Every time you return to your center, through breath, stillness, awareness, you strengthen coherence. You tune your inner frequency and tell the universe, I'm ready. Not with desperation, but with clarity. That readiness becomes the key that unlocks your next timeline. And once unlocked, it flows with less resistance than you ever expected. When you're coherent, you stop over-explaining. You stop begging the universe for proof. You no longer need signs to trust. Your trust becomes the sign. People feel your energy. Opportunities sense your readiness. The field notices the shift, and things begin to move, not from force, but from flow. Imagine your dream life hovering around you like an unformed cloud. It's waiting for something solid to land on. That solid space is your coherence. Your inner certainty becomes the landing zone. When your vibration stabilizes, that cloud condenses into form. Possibility collapses into reality because you gave it somewhere to arrive. This is why fragmented energy delays results. One day you're certain, the next you spiral. One moment you trust, the next you panic. That instability scrambles the field. It doesn't punish you, it just waits. It waits for your signal to become consistent enough to match what you've been asking for. And the moment you do, it delivers. The quantum field isn't slow, it's precise, it's always responding, but it responds to patterns, not spikes, not emotional highs followed by days of doubt, but repeated alignment. Coherence is the pattern that tells the field, this is not a phase, this is who I am now, and that declaration creates collapse. You can't fake coherence. You can't perform your way into manifestation. You must embody it. You must feel the version of you who already has what you desire, and hold that energy, not once, but over and over, until it becomes natural, until it becomes your baseline. And then life shifts, because you did. People often look for massive signs when the truth is in the subtle. The breath you didn't panic through. The day you chose peace over urgency. The moment you didn't react the way you used to. These micro-alignments matter. They may feel small, but they're strong. They are the frequency shifts that prepare the field to collapse in your favor. So don't just try to manifest. Tune in, align, harmonize. Let your thoughts, emotions, and actions all point in the same direction. That's coherence. And that's how you collapse timelines, not with force, but with energetic agreement. Because once your signal becomes coherent, the quantum field has no choice but to reflect it. Stop forcing, start sinking. You've been taught to push, to hustle, to force outcomes into place. But in the quantum field, force creates friction. It signals desperation, not trust. When you try to control everything, you send out a frequency of fear, and fear doesn't sync with your dream life. It syncs with more resistance. The harder you force, the more the field delays. The truth is, what you want is not far away, but you can't access it by overpowering your current reality. The quantum field doesn't respond to control, it responds to coherence. And coherence comes through alignment, not effort. The more you push, the more you stay in survival mode. And survival can't access creation. You've probably tried to do everything right. The visualizations, the journaling, the affirmations. But underneath it all, the energy is tight. It's filled with urgency. It says, if I don't make this happen, nothing will change. That's not faith. That's fear pretending to be strategy, and fear blocks the very reality you're trying to pull in. Sinking is not about doing nothing, it's about doing things from the right energy. You can still act, plan, and build. But when those actions come from calm, trust, and clarity, they amplify your signal. When they come from panic and pressure, they scramble it. It's not about how much you do, it's about who you are while you do it. You can't sync with abundance while vibrating in lack. You can't sync with peace while holding on to control. Your energy must match the outcome you want to receive. That's the law. You don't force water to flow, you open the channel. Your job is not to push the universe. Your job is to become the version of you who naturally attracts what you've been chasing. When you're forcing, you're telling the field, I don't trust the process. And the field mirrors that signal. Delay, frustration, confusion, not as punishment, but as reflection. The quantum field is loyal to your frequency. And if your frequency is misaligned, no amount of effort will override it. Sinking starts with surrender, not giving up, but giving in to alignment, letting go of timelines, releasing pressure, choosing presence over panic. When you stop trying to prove, rush, or control, your nervous system relaxes. And that calm state is what allows real transformation to happen. You may think, but if I don't force it, nothing will move. But look at nature. The seasons change without stress. Flowers bloom without effort. The sun rises without a single push. Creation flows from order, not anxiety. You're not separate from that system. When you're in sync, you're supported. When you're forcing, you're blocked. Most people are addicted to urgency. They feel unsafe unless they're fixing, working, or chasing. But urgency is not the same as alignment. True alignment feels grounded, certain, quietly powerful. It moves without noise. Sinking brings you into that state, where you no longer need external proof to feel secure. Sinking doesn't mean waiting passively. It means choosing from alignment, saying yes only to what feels true, saying no to what feels heavy or misaligned, protecting your energy like it's sacred, because it is. The field doesn't respond to scattered motion, it responds to clear signals. Sinking sharpens that signal. Your dream life has a frequency. It's steady, clear. It's not vibrating in panic. It's not rushing. So to connect with it, you must become emotionally compatible with it. That means letting go of forceful habits, catching yourself when you try to push, and choosing instead to breathe, recalibrate, and trust your field. It's hard at first, because forcing feels familiar. For years, you've been told that only the loudest, fastest, most relentless succeed. But in the quantum space, that noise becomes interference. The most powerful people aren't the most aggressive, they're the most energetically aligned. Think of syncing like tuning a guitar. If one string is off, the whole song sounds wrong. You can play harder, strum faster, but the music still won't sound right. The answer isn't more effort, it's fine-tuning. You slow down, you adjust, you bring each note into harmony, and suddenly, the song plays itself. When you're synced, you stop asking, when will it happen? You already feel connected to the outcome. You stop chasing signs because you become the sign. People feel the shift in your presence. Life begins to mirror your clarity, and what once felt distant starts showing up with surprising ease. The universe is not withholding your desires. It's waiting for your field to match them. When you chase, it steps back. When you align, it leans in. The delay isn't denial, it's calibration. It's the field asking you, are you syncing with the outcome or still trying to control it? You'll notice the shift when peace feels more powerful than urgency, when you feel safe doing less because you trust more, when your body no longer braces for impact. That's not laziness, that's mastery. You're not avoiding action, you're choosing intentional alignment. Syncing invites clarity. You start knowing what's for you and what isn't. You stop overcommitting. You start protecting your emotional space. Your focus sharpens. Your decisions simplify. Not because you have all the answers, but because your field becomes the compass. Eventually, syncing becomes your new default. You don't force connections. You don't beg for results. You let your energy speak first. You let your presence become magnetic. And when something's not aligned, you feel it immediately. And walk away, not from fear, but from integrity. So if life feels stuck, ask yourself, am I forcing something that needs to flow? Am I chasing something I need to become? The moment you stop forcing and start syncing, the signal clears, the resistance fades, and the timeline you've been struggling to reach finally reaches you. Your power isn't in how much you do, it's in how clearly you broadcast. When your energy is tuned, life moves, not faster, but smoother. And you realize you were never meant to fight for alignment. You were only meant to remember it, to live from it, to sync. The ritual of frequency tuning. Your frequency isn't fixed, it's shaped daily by your choices, thoughts, emotions, and environment. Tuning into the version of you that already has what you want isn't a one-time decision. It's a ritual, a quiet, consistent practice of alignment, not to become someone new, but to remember who you already are in the quantum field. Every morning offers a portal. Before your mind floods with the past, before the world pulls your energy outward, you have a window. In that stillness, you choose. Do I tune into fear or faith? Do I rehearse the old story or practice the new frequency? That first breath, that first thought, sets the tone for your entire field. Tuning doesn't mean chasing high vibes. It means emotional honesty. Some mornings you'll feel off, and that's okay. The ritual is not about pretending. It's about noticing, recentering, realigning, asking yourself, what would the version of me I'm syncing with choose right now? Then becoming that version, breath by breath. This version of you, the one who already feels whole, loved, free, isn't waiting to be created. It's waiting to be accessed. The ritual is how you build that bridge, through intention, through presence, through small, powerful acts of coherence. When done consistently, your energy shifts, not as a performance, but as a natural evolution. The ritual starts in your body. Your nervous system holds your past patterns. Tuning your frequency means calming the body, slowing the breath, and creating emotional safety. From that calm, clarity emerges. From that clarity, alignment becomes possible. You can't tune when you're bracing. You can only tune when you feel safe enough to let go. Movement can be tuning, stillness can be tuning, silence, music, breath, reflection, all can shift your signal if done with intention. The key isn't the tool, it's the presence behind it. A 5-minute ritual done with deep intention is more powerful than hours of mindless activity. The field responds to depth, not duration. You don't need candles or crystals to tune your frequency. You need focus. You need awareness. You need to act in a way that reflects who you're becoming, not who you've been. Every aligned action sends a message. This is my new baseline. And when you repeat that message, your field begins to believe you. Even your smallest decisions carry weight. What you consume, what you say yes to, who you give your attention to. Tuning your frequency means protecting your energetic space, not from fear, but from wisdom. You're not being picky, you're being precise, and precision shapes reality. Visualization is part of the ritual, not as daydreaming, but as emotional rehearsal. You don't just see the new life, you feel it. You create the internal state that matches that version of you. And as you do, your brain and body begin to change. New neural pathways form, old patterns weaken. The shift becomes biological. Gratitude is a tuning fork, not just for what you have, but for what you are receiving. When you feel grateful before it arrives, you signal trust. You collapse time. You dissolve resistance. Gratitude tunes your field into receivership. It says, I already feel it, I'm already becoming it. And the field mirrors that vibration back. The ritual continues throughout your day, in how you walk, in how you speak, in how you respond to triggers. When old emotions rise, tuning means pausing, not reacting. choosing presence over habit. The more you do this, the more your nervous system rewires. You stop defaulting. You start designing. You are not trying to be perfect. You are building a pattern, a new baseline. The goal isn't to stay in high frequency all the time. The goal is to return to alignment faster, to catch yourself when you slip, to forgive yourself when you fall, and to trust that every time you tune back in, you strengthen the signal. Even your words are part of the ritual, the stories you tell, the language you use. Words carry energy. Speak from the version of you who trusts, not the one who fears. Speak life into your timeline. Speak as if it's already happening, because in the field, it is. Your words become codes that instruct the field how to respond. Evening is another sacred window. As your mind slows and your body prepares for rest, your subconscious becomes more open. This is the perfect time to tune, to reflect, to release the day's noise, to feel gratitude, presence, and peace. You don't fall asleep with anxiety. You fall asleep with intention. That's how you reprogram deeply. Every night, ask yourself, what frequency am I falling asleep with? If it's frustration, shift it. If it's doubt, clear it. Go to sleep aligned with the version of you that's already receiving. Your dream state becomes a broadcast, and the universe listens, even while you rest. Tuning becomes a lifestyle, not a checklist, not a technique, a way of being, a way of choosing. It becomes so normal that anything out of alignment feels foreign. That's how you know the ritual is working, when old patterns no longer feel like home, when your new energy becomes familiar. Some days you'll feel deeply connected, other days you'll forget. That's okay. The ritual is not about perfection, it's about returning. The power is in your ability to come back, to remember, to realign. The more you return, the less time you spend out of sync. The shift becomes sustainable. Eventually, you stop asking, how do I manifest it? You start asking, how do I stay in frequency with it? Because once you're tuned, things begin to appear naturally, not because you forced them, but because you stopped blocking them. Your coherence becomes the gateway, the ritual becomes the collapse. This isn't about doing more, it's about becoming resonant, a walking signal, a living transmission. When your field is consistent, the field around you bends. The people, opportunities, and timelines that match your signal begin to appear, and you won't be surprised, you'll be ready. So ask yourself, what rituals am I living by? What frequency am I committed to moment by moment? Because whether you realize it or not, you're always tuning. The question is, are you tuning into your past or into the life that's been waiting for your signal? You don't need to try harder. You don't need to wait for a sign. The field isn't holding anything back. It's simply mirroring who you are being, not what you're wishing for. So, if your life hasn't shifted yet, it's not because you're doing it wrong. It's because you're still tuned to the version of you that believes it has to be hard. But today, you remember. That alignment isn't something to chase. It's something to become. And the moment your signal shifts, the field has no choice but to respond. Not because you forced it, but because you finally matched it. So if this resonated with something deep inside you, not just in your mind, but in your field, comment below, I'm aligned now. Let your future self know. Let the signal be clear. And if you're ready to keep tuning, to stop attracting and start broadcasting, gently subscribe to Frequency of Mind. Because here we don't chase timelines, we collapse into them.